Hello, and thank you for joining me tonight. This Reiki session, distance Reiki session, is going to be dedicated or with a theme or purpose or intention of increasing our psychic awareness or for psychic development. In it, I'm going to be showing you some stones that I picked out for this purpose, doing an aura cleansing, of course, and then the distance Reiki. A little bit about psychic development. I would highly recommend this book. It's absolutely excellent if you want to work on, flexing that muscle, that psychic muscle. It's by Sonia Choquette. Oh God, I hope I'm saying that right. Sonia Choquette, I believe, hopefully. And it's just written so well. I absolutely love this author. She is a great author. She's psychic herself. And it's just I just love the way she writes. It's very clear. It's very simple. It's not, it's practical. It's very relatable. And I would just highly recommend this book if you're looking to increase your psychic development. It's called The Psychic Pathway. I'm just going to toss my phone. Okay. So let me show you the stones that I picked out. We have a really beautiful tiger's eye. This is from Monk and Moon. I really like it because, you can have it stand up. Tiger's eye is great for the third eye, for earth and sun energy. It's protective. It gives us confidence. It not only opens that gut instinct and just accentuates it, but gives us the confidence to follow through with it. So I really love that stone for that. In a bit of the same theme, I have a dark piece of citrine. It's just a small point, but it's very dark. And I like the darkness for psychic things because again, it's protective, but it's like your imagination, like what I envision our imagination is like the void, like where anything can be created from. So I like really dark things, super dark when I'm where thoughts come forth from, things are born from darkness, if you want to say. So in the theme of that as well, I have a piece of obsidian or black agate for that darkness, the void. I just really like that. Another one that I've chosen is blue tiger's eye, which is a great one. Again, it's similar to tiger's eye, so it's kind of in here for balance, but it has a little bit more of a connection to the third eye since it has that bluish hue. Here is a labradorite shape, polished stone. And these, because how this is formed, it's really a gray stone called feldspar. And these minerals deposit in layers. So the stone itself is a little, I don't want to say translucent, that's not the right word, but where you can see through it a little bit, like it's not completely opaque. So as the light shines through the stone, the different minerals that have deposited flash, and they have these beautiful blue and pink and purple, green and amber, orange tones. It's just the most beautiful stone, and it's truly magical. And to tap into that spirit, I picked this really beautiful aura point. So it has like an indigo point on the angel aura on the bottom. It's really special, so I just thought that this would be really good for what we're trying to do. And then in the center I have a piece of celestial quartz or skeleton quartz. I got this in the city at Namaste Bookshop, but their stuff always changes. They're a really great bookstore if you're in Manhattan. I think they're on 14th Street. Just really great. And I picked that kind of for the purpose of like communicating with the unseen or the subconscious and things like that. Alright, so a little bit that I'm going to talk about, really like all of this you'll find in the book as well, I'm pretty sure. It's just a really great book for what we're talking about. I would agree that there are 3 areas that when we're tuning into our psychic side, that get tapped into, as in there's 3 different categories of psychicness. I'm sure there's more as well, but these, I do agree with the book that these seem to be like where I find myself to be guided from, or to have happenstance with, or pick up signs from, or get feelings from. So I want to share them with you. The first is through our subconscious. This is where I feel like I get a lot of my information. Basically, your subconscious is constantly picking up information from every room you've ever walked into, every conversation you've ever had, every book, class, like everything you've experienced really gets absorbed by your subconscious, and your focused mind can't handle all the information, nor does it necessarily need it. So it just gets stored. It gets stored in the rest of your brain somewhere or whatever. So when you're working on an issue, or you're thinking of something, or I believe this is like where deja vus come from, for like, or something like that, where you just kind of have this flash of like, oh, I know this. Like, I forget how I know this. Like, I didn't remember remembering it when I first experienced it, but now I do. It's like your subconscious is this database, and when you need something from it, if you can calm yourself, if you can allow yourself to bubble that thought back out, or bubble out that information, it will come to you. But it is like a muscle that you flex. It is something that you need to practice. So when you're working on something, it's like bloop, like your file might come out and be like, oh, that's where that comes from, or oh, that makes perfect sense, or whatever. So psychic development can be, you can look at it as your subconscious and accessing your subconscious. Another way to look at it, or another facet of it, is telepathy. I'm sure that we've all had that experience where you're thinking of a friend and then they call you, or you're like have a song stuck in your head, and then you like hear someone else like humming it, like things like that. That's like a way of a way that our like telepathy like comes out, and that's another, again, thing to practice on, to strengthen. And then lastly, last but not least, is our higher self. Like, that's who we really should be checking in with all the time. Whenever we're in doubt, whenever we want to get some information, whenever we're like unsure at all, or just want to double check, like just letting yourself communicate with your higher self and be guided that way is such a powerful practice. I feel like most people who use that and access their higher self are just such stable people. Like, they're just very chill. They're not like, they don't get upset like really a lot, or like anger. They just kind of have that knowing kind of vibe, and it's really wonderful. It's great and soothing to be around. So if your goal is to be able to connect with your higher self, again, like this Reiki session is meant to remove blockages that prevent us from connecting with our higher self, or subconscious, or using our telepathy. There's something to be said for clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, I think that's what it's called. But basically picking up, hearing things, smelling things, seeing things in our mind, or through dreams or anything like that. That's all also part of our psychic awareness. So an important thing to keep in mind is that our imagination is incredibly important when it comes into this, because a lot of times we will dismiss what we've come up with, a dream that we had, a thought that we had, a feeling that we had, and dismiss it like, oh, it's just my imagination. But of course it's your imagination. Like, that's where things are born from. Like, everything is imagined in that sense when you're thinking of thoughts and things like that. So it's important to obviously develop discernment, because not everything is a psychic sign or whatever. But letting your imagination go. Like, that's its field, that's its playing ground. Like, that's where your psychic stuff is gonna come from, your imagination. Another thing to keep in mind is kind of keeping our ego in check, because you know, you don't really want to have so much tied to your ability to be psychic, your ability to predict things, your dreams being accurate, your ability to call out deja vus or things like that. Like, it's a gift and it's really beautiful, and we do all have access to these gifts, so be grateful for them. But they're not meant to, make us feel like we're some, untouchable force, or, I guess that's kind of the wrong way to say that, but I hope you know what I mean. I mean, you want your ego to be balanced. Our ego is very healthy, but we don't want it to be like pompous or, I'm sure that we all have that discernment of, healthy ego versus like a little bit egomania or something like that. So all of that said, we're going to start our Reiki session. I'm going to start by clearing the space with my Palo Santo. So Palo Santo, again, I'm sure you know this by now, is a sacred, ethically harvested wood. Has a very churchy vibe, very shamanic vibe. It's really just a lovely smell if you like stuff like this, but everybody has their own personal taste. It's not exactly piney. It's unique. Okay. It smells really delicious. Alright, so the intent for this Reiki session, and if you're interested in picking up this energy, all I need to do is say, I welcome this energy for my highest and greatest good. And it's to remove blockages that prevent us from communicating this way or absorbing information this way. Keep our ego healthy and balanced. I talk about the ego because there is a confidence, there needs to be confidence in ourselves, in our gut feelings, in our intuition, in the signs that we pick up through the day. So there's something to that for sure. Alright. So put the intent with the highest and greatest good, in perfect alignment and comfort with what you're exactly ready for and need. Focusing first on the spiritual element to all this, because we do need to connect with spirit in order to connect with our psychic powers. Focusing on the emotional aspect of it, it's always good to increase our emotional awareness, because when we come from a place of observing and not absorbing, we're just in a much better place to understand the messages that we receive. When we're attached to an outcome or situation or desire, that sways, our perceptions. It doesn't, kind of takes away the credibility a little bit. Focusing on the history, our history, if we have anything that would be blocking us from getting in touch with our psychic sides, whether that be, having these preconceived notions of what we think a psychic would be. Religious things that might make us feel like it's not right for us to get in touch with this side of us. I'm now focusing on the physical. How we take care of ourselves, how our environment is, that we need to keep it nice and orderly for us to be able to receive clear messages, that we need to meditate in order to go into these, I'll call it thoughtless or, quiet thinking type places to receive these signs and communications more easily. Really opening and balancing the crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root. So we're open to receiving in just a very clear channel. So now I'm going to do your aura fluffing and then combing. And again, we make our aura fluffy so that it's protective and restored in a sense. If there's any weak spots, just puff them back up. And then we comb it through to make it smooth and kind of pull it back in a little bit too, because you don't want it too big. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, found it beneficial and relaxing. If you've never watched any of my videos before, I'm a master teacher level Reiki practitioner. I work out of the NYC area. I see clients in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and I teach Reiki in Staten Island. If you're in the area and you want to hook up. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, you can find me on Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you'd like to book a distance Reiki session with me or check out any of my other services or just, connect with me in another way, you can check out my website, which is lunanate.com. So thank you so much for all your support and encouragement and love and all the wonderful messages and just making me feel like keep going, all the donations and everything like that. I'm just so grateful. And again, as always, namaste.